Welcome back to the Interplanar Fighting Championships, where D&D monsters battle for bragging rights. The CR6 tournament is upon us, and as always, if you want to fill out a bracket, here's the official IFC scoring system. Guess a round 1 matchup correctly, you get 1 point. Guess a round 2 matchup correctly, you get 2 points. Guess a semifinal bout correctly, you get 4 points. And if you guess the champion of the tournament correctly, you get 8 points. And if you'd like to chat with me and the rest of the IFC community, join our Discord server. Link is in my bio. The CR6 tournament is here. Our first matchup, Category 2 Crassus versus White Abashi. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Category 2 Crassus will be up first. The Crassus has 2 adaptations, 1 major and 1 minor. We have to roll a d8 on the table to determine which of each it has. An 8, which means the Crassus has regeneration. Regains 5 hit points at the start of each of its turns if it has at least 1 hit point. And now the minor. A 5, so they have heightened awareness, which means the Crassus can't be surprised. So now the Crassus is going to use their multi-attack, 1 bite and 1 claw attack. A 4 plus 7 is an 11, that misses, but the 12 plus 7 hits with the claws. 2d12 plus 4 slashing damage. 19 points of slashing damage, but the Abashi is resistant to non-magical slashing damage, so that's only going to be 9 points of damage. The White Abashi is going to use a reaction, Vicious Reprisal. In response to taking damage, the Abashi makes 1 bite attack against a random creature within 5 feet. That is a natural 1. The White Abashi's turn. They're going to use Reckless. At the start of its turn, the Abashi can gain advantage on all melee weapon attack rolls during that turn, but attack rolls against it have advantage until the start of its next turn. And they're going to use their multi-attack, 1 bite, 1 claw, and 1 longsword attack. That's a natural 20 on their bite. A 5 plus 6 misses with the claws. And a 15 plus 6 hits with the longsword. 2d4 plus 3 piercing plus 2d6 cold plus 1d8 plus 3 force damage. 20 points of damage. The Crassus's turn. At the start of their turn, the Crassus regains 5 hit points from regeneration, and they're going to use their bite and claw attacks, both at advantage. Oh, a 4 plus 7 is going to miss with the bite. Okay, but that's a natural 20 with the claws. 31 points of slashing damage, half to 15. The White Abashi is going to use their reaction, Vicious Reprisal, and make a bite attack. A 15 plus 6 hits. 8 points of damage. The White Abashi's turn, Reckless, Bite, Claw, and Longsword. An 8 plus 6 misses with the bite. That's a natural 20 on their claws. A 14 plus 6 hits with the Longsword. 2d10 plus 3 slashing plus 1d8 plus 3 force. All 8s, 30 points of damage. The Category 2 Crassus's turn. They regain 5 HP from regeneration, and they'll make 1 bite and 1 claw attack. A 13 plus 7 hits with the bite, but a 7 plus 7 misses with the claws. 2d12 plus 4 piercing damage. 11 points of piercing damage, half to 5. The Abashi is going to make a Vicious Reprisal reaction. A 12 plus 6 hits. 8 points of damage. The White Abashi's turn. Reckless, Bite, Claw, and Longsword. A 7 plus 6 misses with the bite. A 19 plus 6 hits with the claws. That's a natural 20 on the longsword. 20 points of damage. The Crassus's turn. Regains 5 HP from regeneration and makes 1 bite and 1 claw attack. A 4 plus 7 is gonna miss. A 10 plus 7 hits with the claws. 23 points of slashing damage, halved to 11. Reaction, Vicious Reprisal, Bite attack. An 11 plus 6 hits. 7 points of damage. The Abashi's turn, Reckless, Bite, Claw, and Longsword. The bite attack misses. That's a nat 20 on the claws. And the longsword hits. 21 points of damage. The Crassus's turn. Regains 5 HP from regeneration and makes 1 bite and 1 claw attack. The bite attack hits. And the claw attack hits. 38 points of damage, halved to 19. The Abashi makes a reaction, Vicious Reprisal, Bite attack. A 5 plus 6 is gonna miss. The White Abashi's turn. Reckless, Bite, Claw, and Longsword. The bite attack hits. Ooh, the claw attack misses. 8 plus 6, the longsword misses too. 11 points of damage. The Category 2 Crassus's turn. Regenerates 5 hit points and is making 1 bite and 1 claw attack. A 9 plus 7 hits with the bite. A 15 plus 7 hits with the claws. A total of 30 points of damage, halved to 15. The Category 2 Crassus survives the white Abashi. So many nat 20s there. Really fun to just roll reckless the entire time. The Crassus with that regeneration was big. And the Category 2 Crassus is moving on to the next round. Our next matchup in the CR6 tournament pits the Invisible Stalker versus Blood Fray Giant. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Invisible Stalker will be up first. Given the Invisible Stalker's invisibility feature and the new PHB's definition of the invisible condition, the Stalker had advantage on their initiative roll and will have advantage on their multi-attack 2 slam attacks. A 19 plus 6 hits and an 18 plus 6 hits. 46 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. 20 points of bludgeoning damage. The Blood Fray Giant's gonna use their Furious Defense reaction. The wording is a bit confusing on this one. After a creature the giant can see is dealt damage by a foe, the creature the giant can see is themselves. The giant makes a chain attack against that foe. A 6 plus 9 does hit. 3d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. 14 points of bludgeoning damage, but the Stalker is resistant to non-magical bludgeoning damage, so that's only gonna be 7 points of damage. In addition, the giant's chain attack grapples and restrains the target, but the Stalker is immune to the grappled and restrained conditions. The Blood Fray Giant's turn. They're gonna make a chain attack. A 7 plus 9 hits. 15 points of damage, halved to 7. The Invisible Stalker's turn. 2 slam attacks. A 12 plus 6 hits, and a 19 plus 6 hits. 20 points of damage. Reaction Furious Defense Chain Attack. A 5 plus 9 is exactly what they need to hit. 20 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to 10. The Blood Fray Giant's turn, 1 chain attack. A 14 plus 9 hits. 21 points of damage, halved to 10. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. A 12 plus 6 hits, and a 15 plus 6 hits. Ooh, bad roll there. 12 points of damage. Reaction Furious Defense from the Giant. A 7 plus 9 is gonna hit. 16 points of damage, halved to 8. The Blood Fray Giant's turn, 1 chain attack. There it is. That's a natural 1. The Invisible Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. A 12 plus 6 hits, and an 8 plus 6 hits. 18 points of damage. Reaction Furious Defense from the Giant. A 13 plus 9 is gonna hit. 18 points of damage, halved to 9. The Giant's turn, chain attack. A 16 plus 9 is gonna hit. 15 points of damage, halved to 7. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. Attack number 1 hits, but a 7 plus 6 is gonna miss. 10 points of bludgeoning damage. Reaction Furious Defense Chain Attack. A 3 plus 9 is not gonna hit. The Blood Fray Giant's turn, chain attack. A 9 plus 9 hits. 18 points of damage, halved to 9. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. 16 plus 6 hits. And there's the natural 20. This could be it. 17 on 66, and the Giant is down. With 19 on the dice, plus 6, 25 points of damage, and with that, the Invisible Stalker defeats the Blood Fray Giant. Woo-wee! The Stalker staying invisible that entire time is what made the difference. This certainly was a bad matchup for the Giant. And the Invisible Stalker moves on to the next round. Moving along in our CR6 tournament, we have the Mammoth versus our CR5 champion, Ruin Grinder. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Mammoth will be up first. Gonna use their trampling charge feature. If the Mammoth moves at least 20 feet straight toward a creature and hits it with a gore attack, that creature must succeed on a DC 18 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. They miss on their gore attack. The Ruin Grinder's turn. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 excavator attacks. That's our CR5 champion right there, a natural 20. And on a hit, the target must succeed on a DC 17 strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet away and knocked prone. A 15 plus 7 is gonna save. Attack number 2. And a 19 plus 9 is gonna hit. DC 17 strength saving throw. A 7 plus 7 is gonna fail. 66 plus 12 force damage. 37 points of damage. The Mammoth's turn. They're gonna get up from prone and make a gore attack. An 8 plus 10 hits. 48 plus 7 piercing damage. 21 points of piercing damage. The Ruin Grinder's turn. 2 more excavator attacks. A 6 plus 9 is gonna hit. DC 17 strength saving throw. A 3 plus 7 is gonna fail. With the Mammoth prone, attack number 2 at advantage. A nat 1 and a nat 20. My goodness, the Ruin Grinder is here to play. 30 points of damage. The Mammoth's turn. They're gonna get up from prone and make a gore attack. An 11 plus 10 hits. 25 points of piercing damage. The Ruin Grinder's turn. 2 more excavator attacks. Ooh, a 3 plus 9 is gonna miss. But attack number 2 hits. DC 17 strength saving throw. A 4 plus 7 is gonna fail. 11 points of damage. The Mammoth's turn. They're gonna get up from prone and make a gore attack. A 13 plus 10 hits. 28 points of damage. The Ruin Grinder's turn. 2 excavator attacks. They need something special here. A 10 plus 9 is gonna hit. DC 17 strength saving throw. A 17 plus 7 is gonna succeed. Ooh, and that's a natural 1. 13 points of damage. The Mammoth's turn. A gore attack at advantage. On a hit, they win. And that is a natural 20. And with minimum damage, our CR5 champion is down. The Ruin Grinder just could not do enough damage. I feel like the Mammoth didn't play very well, but we'll see how they do in round 2. And the Mammoth is moving on to the next round. Our next matchup in our CR6 tournament pits the Underworld Cerberus versus Vampire Captain. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Underworld Cerberus will be up first. Gonna use their breath weapon. Exhales a 30-foot cone of molten rock. Each creature must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. A 7 plus 3 is gonna fail. 6d6 fire damage. 22 points of fire damage. The Vampire Captain's gonna use a reaction, uncanny dodge, and half that damage. So they only take 11 points of damage. In addition, the Vampire Captain is also restrained by the Hardening Rock. And it's now the Vampire Captain's turn. Knowing that the Underworld Cerberus is immune to necrotic damage, they're gonna have to use their heavy crossbow, disadvantaged because they're restrained. But a 16 plus 6 is gonna hit. 3d10 plus 3 piercing damage. 15 points of damage. The Underworld Cerberus' turn. Their breath weapon does recharge, but instead of using their breath weapon, they're gonna make a multi-attack, makes 3 bite attacks. All of these at advantage. Bite attack number 1 hits, natural 20 on bite attack number 2, and another hit on bite 3. Each bite deals 2d6 plus 4 piercing plus 1d6 fire. The Vampire Captain's gonna use uncanny dodge on this first bite. And that's low damage. 8 points of damage, half to 4. 25 points of damage on the crit. And 17 points of damage on bite 3. The Vampire Captain's turn. They're gonna do another disadvantage heavy crossbow. A 17 plus 6 is gonna hit. 22 points of damage. The Cerberus' turn. 3 more bite attacks. That's a crit on bite number 1. An 8 plus 7 is gonna hit. And that is crit on bite number 3. The crits are coming hot and fast. Reaction uncanny dodge on the first bite. 22 points of damage, half to 11. 9 points of damage on bite 2. And with 32 points of damage on bite number 3, the Vampire Captain goes down. The Cerberus destroyed the Captain. The Vampire Captain was outmatched from the start. This Cerberus is good. I'm watching them. And the Underworld Cerberus is moving on to the next round. Moving along in our CR6 tournament, we have the Sirlon Leader versus DUS Hag. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Sirlon Leader will be up first. Gonna use their multi-attack, 2 bites, 2 claws, and their pacify action. First, the bites. A 5 plus 6 misses, but the 14 plus 6 hits. 11 plus 6 just hits, so 1 hit with the claws. 1d8 plus 3 piercing for the bite, and 1d4 plus 3 slashing for the claws. 12 points of damage. And now their pacify action targets 1 creature it can see. That target must succeed on a DC 16 wisdom saving throw. A 7 plus 6 is gonna fail. The DUS Hag falls unconscious. The DUS Hag's turn. They are unconscious. They cannot do anything on their turn, and it's now the Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 bites, 2 claws, and their Psychic Crush action. First, the bite attacks. A 13 plus 6 hits, and because the DUS Hag is unconscious, that will be a critical hit. The DUS Hag is now no longer unconscious, but they're still prone, so these are still gonna have advantage. Bite attack number 2 misses. And that's a critical hit on claw number 1. Oh my gosh. And a critical hit on claw number 2. 9 points of damage from the crit bite. 8 points from the crit claw, and 7 points from the other crit claw. And for Psychic Crush, the Sirlon targets one creature it can see. The target must make a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. A 3 + 6 is gonna fail. 3d10 + 5 psychic damage. 22 points of Psychic from the Psychic Crush. Now the DUS Hag's turn. They're gonna get up from prone and use their multi-attack. 2 Nightmare Touch attacks. A 9 + 7 hits, so that is 2 hits. 8d6 + 8 psychic damage. 33 points of psychic damage, but the Sirlon Leader is resistant to psychic damage, so that's only gonna be 16 points of damage. The Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. 2 bites, 2 claws, and Psychic Crush. First the bites. The 6 + 6 misses, but the 16 on the dice hits. An 8 + 6 misses, but the 15 on the dice hits. And a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. An 8 + 6 fails. And with a total of 31 points of damage, the Sirlon Leader takes down the DUS Hag. That was pure domination. The Sirlon Leader is good. This tournament is fun. And the Sirlon Leader is moving on to the next round. The next matchup in our CR6 tournament pits the Gift Shock Trooper versus Casme. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll! The Gift Shock Trooper will be up first. At the start of their turn, they have to deal with the Casme's drone feature. The Casme produces a horrid droning sound. Any creature that starts its turn within 30 feet of the Casme must succeed on a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. A 7 + 7 does succeed, so the Gift Shock Trooper does not fall unconscious. And the Shock Trooper is now immune to the Casme's drone. The Shock Trooper is going to use their feature Head First Charge. If the Gift moves at least 20 feet toward a large or smaller creature, that creature must succeed on a DC 16 Strength saving throw. A 4 + 2 is gonna fail. 2d6 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone. 7 points of damage. The Shock Trooper is gonna use their multi-attack, making 2 greatsword attacks. A 13 + 8 hits, and a 19 + 8 hits. 66 + 10 slashing damage. 28 points of damage. The Casme's turn. They're gonna get up from prone and use their proboscis. A 5 + 5 is gonna miss. The Shock Trooper's turn. 2 more greatsword attacks. Ooh, a 6 + 8 misses, so that is 2 misses. The Casme's turn. Another proboscis attack. A 2 + 5 misses. The Gift Shock Trooper's turn. 2 greatsword attacks. An 8 + 8 hits, so that's 1 hit. 16 points of damage. The Casme's turn. Proboscis attack. A 12 + 5 is gonna miss. The Gift Shock Trooper's turn. 2 greatsword attacks. The 5 + 8 misses, but the 19 hits. 16 points of damage. The Casme's turn. Proboscis attack. There we go, a 17 + 5 hits. 46 + 2 piercing damage. 20 points of piercing, and 76 necrotic. 25 points of necrotic damage, and the Shock Trooper's HP max is reduced by the amount of necrotic damage taken. The Shock Trooper's turn. 2 greatsword attacks. The 4 + 8 misses, but the 19 + 8 hits. A 12 on 3d6 and the Casme's down. Only 11 on the dice, that is 16 points of damage. The Casme's turn. Proboscis attack. Ooh, a 4 + 5 is gonna miss. This could be it. The Shock Trooper's turn. 2 greatsword attacks. On a hit, they win. Okay, a 5 + 8 is gonna miss. The Casme is still up, and it's their turn. Proboscis attack. Oh my god! What? Oh my goodness. That is a critical hit with the proboscis. The Casme could do it. Let's roll the crit piercing first. 24 points of piercing damage. Oh my gosh. This should do it. 52 points of necrotic damage. And the Casme, with 1 hit point remaining, defeats the Shock Trooper. What a comeback. The Shock Trooper was playing with their food. We just love the IFC. And the Casme is moving on to the next round. Our second to last matchup in round 1 of our CR6 tournament pits the Durar Warlord versus Wyvern. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Wyvern will be up first. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 1 claw and 1 stinger. The stinger's gonna miss, but that is a crit on the claws. 48 + 4 slashing damage. 16 points of damage. The Durar's turn. They're gonna use their bonus action Enlarge. The Durar magically increases in size, doubles its damage dice on strength-based weapon attacks. They're gonna use their multi-attack, making 3 psychic attuned hammer attacks. An 11 plus 7 hits, so that is 3 hits. 6d10 plus 12 bludgeoning plus 3d10 psychic. 33 points of bludgeoning plus 19 points of psychic. The Wyvern's turn. 1 claw and 1 stinger. The stinger's gonna miss, but the claws hit. 12 points of slashing damage. The Durar's turn. 3 more psychic attuned hammer attacks. An 11 plus 7 hits, so that's 2 hits and a crit. 49 points of bludgeoning damage. And with 26 points of psychic damage, the Wyvern goes down. The Durar just went crazy. The Warlord, you better watch out for them. And the Durar Warlord is moving on to the next round. Our final round 1 matchup of our CR6 tournament pits the Moonlight Guardian versus Gallow Speaker. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Gallow Speaker will be up first. They're gonna use their action, Suffering Echoes. Targets a creature it can see within 30 feet. That target must make a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. A 3 plus 1's gonna fail. 3d12 psychic damage. 22 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. They're gonna use their action, Moonlight Blast. Unleashes a magical blast of moonlight in a 60-foot line. Each creature must make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw. A 10 plus 2's gonna fail. 5d8 radiant damage. 25 points of damage. The Gallow Speaker's turn. Suffering Echoes again. DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. An 11 plus 1's gonna fail. 13 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does recharge, and they're gonna use it. DC 14 Dexterity saving throw. A 16 plus 2's gonna pass. 21 points of damage, halved to 10. The Gallow Speaker's turn. Suffering Echoes again. DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. An 8 plus 1's gonna fail. 15 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does not recharge. We're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. An 8 plus 7 hits, so that is 2 hits. 2d8 plus 8 bludgeoning plus 2d8 radiant damage. 18 points of bludgeoning damage, but the Gallow Speaker is resistant to non-magical bludgeoning, so that's only gonna be 9 points of damage. And 10 points of radiant damage. The Gallow Speaker's turn. Suffering Echoes, DC 15 Wisdom saving throw. An 18 plus 1 passes. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does not recharge. 2 more Moonlight Slam attacks. A 7 plus 7 hits, so that is 2 hits. 21 points of bludgeoning damage, half to 10. And 13 points of radiant damage. The Gallow Speaker's turn. They're gonna try their foretelling touch attack. And 19 plus 7 hits. 2d10 plus 4 psychic damage. 12 points of psychic damage. And the Guardian must roll a d4 and subtract that number from the next attack roll or saving throw it makes before the start of the Gallow's next turn. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does not recharge. 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. An 18 minus 1 is a 17 plus 7. That hits. And attack number 2 hits. And with 22 points of bludgeoning damage, half to 11. And 13 points of radiant damage, the Gallow Speaker goes down. The Speaker just could not do enough damage. That low AC definitely hurt them. And the Moonlight Guardian is moving to round 2, and so shall we. Our first round 2 matchup of our CR6 tournament pits the Category 2 Crassus versus Invisible Stalker. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll! With advantage from invisibility, the Invisible Stalker will be up first. But before we start, let's roll the Crassus's major and minor adaptations. Their major adaptation will be a venomous sting. The Invisible Stalker is immune to the poison condition, so that unfortunately won't have any effect on this bout. And their minor adaptation will be aquatic, gaining a swimming speed equal to its walking speed. The Stalker will make 2 slam attacks, advantage because of invisibility. Slam attack number 1 hits, and slam attack number 2 hits. 46 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. 12 points of damage. The Category 2 Crassus's turn. Multi-attack, 1 bite and 1 claw. Disadvantage because of invisibility. A 12 plus 7 hits with the bite, but a natural 1 with the claws. 2d12 plus 4 piercing damage. 16 points of piercing damage. The Invisible Stalker is resistant to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, so that's only going to be 9 points of damage. The Invisible Stalker's turn. 2 slam attacks. That's a crit with slam attack number 1, and a hit with slam attack number 2. 28 points of damage. The Crassus' turn, 1 bite and 1 claw attack. A 15 plus 7 hits with the bite, and a 7 plus 7 hits with the claws. 2d12 plus 4 piercing plus 2d12 plus 4 slashing. 23 points of damage, halved to 11. The Invisible Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. Slam attack number 1 hits, and attack number 2 hits. 24 points of damage. The Crassus' turn, 1 bite and 1 claw. A 2 plus 7's gonna miss, but a 12 plus 7 hits with the claws. 21 points of damage, halved to 10. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. Attack number 1 misses, but attack number 2 hits. 5 points of bludgeoning damage. The Crassus' turn, 1 bite and 1 claw. A 5 plus 7 misses with the bite, and a 2 plus 7 misses with the claws. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. A 10 plus 6 is gonna hit. And that is 2 natural 1s. 11 points of damage. The Crassus' turn, 1 bite and 1 claw. The bite is gonna be straight up. An 18 plus 7 hits, but a 6 plus 7 misses. 19 points of damage, halved to 9. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. Attack number 1 hits, but attack number 2 misses. 9 points of damage. The Crassus' turn, 1 bite and 1 claw. Their bite attack misses, and that's a natural 1 with the claws. The Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. Critical hit on number 1, and a hit with number 2. 25 points of damage. The Crassus' turn, 1 bite and 1 claw. Their bite attack hits, and another critical miss with the claws. 24 points of damage, halved to 12. The Stalker's turn, 2 more slam attacks. Attack number 1 hits, and attack number 2 hits. And with 27 points of damage, the Invisible Stalker takes down the Category 2 Crassus. Being invisible is a hack. That's a cheat code. And the Invisible Stalker is moving on to the semifinals. Our next matchup in round 2 of our CR6 tournament pits the Mammoth versus Underworld Cerberus. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll! The Underworld Cerberus will be up first. They're gonna use their breath weapon. Exhales a 30-foot cone of molten rock. Each creature must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. We're spinning, guys, we're spinning. An 18 minus 1 is gonna succeed. 6d6 fire damage halved. 26 points of fire damage, halved to 13. The Cerberus will move into melee range with the Mammoth, and it's now the Mammoth's turn. They're gonna use their gore attack. A 10 plus 10 is gonna hit. 48 plus 7 piercing damage. 32 points of damage. The Cerberus's turn. Their breath weapon does recharge, and they're gonna use it. DC 15 dexterity saving throw. A 14 minus 1 fails. 15 points of fire damage. In addition, the Mammoth is also restrained by the hardening rock, and it's now the Mammoth's turn. They're gonna make a gore attack, disadvantaged because of restrained. A 2 plus 10 is gonna miss. The Cerberus's turn. Their breath weapon does not recharge. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 3 bite attacks. Attack number 1 hits. Attack number 2 hits, and a 7 plus 7, attack number 3 hits. 66 plus 12 piercing plus 3d6 fire damage. 28 points of piercing damage, plus 11 points of fire damage. The Mammoth's turn. They're gonna try to get out of this restrained condition. A DC 15 strength check as an action. An 8 plus 7 is a 15, exactly what they needed, and it's now the Cerberus's turn. Their breath weapon does not recharge. 3 bite attacks. 1 attack misses, 1 attack hits, and 1 is a critical hit. 29 points of piercing damage, and 9 points of fire damage. The Mammoth's turn. They're gonna leave the Cerberus's melee range to try to set up their trampling charge. So the Cerberus gets a reaction bite attack. A 4 plus 7 is gonna miss. For trampling charge, if the Mammoth moves at least 20 feet straight towards a creature and hits it with a gore attack, that target must make a DC 18 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. An 18 plus 10 hits. DC 18 strength saving throw. A 19 plus 4 saves. 26 points of damage. The Cerberus's turn. Their breath weapon does recharge, but they're not gonna use it and try to end it right here, making 3 bite attacks. That is 2 hits. 20 points of piercing damage, and 6 points of fire damage. The Underworld Cerberus takes down the Mammoth. The Cerberus is very good. The Underworld Cerberus is moving on to the semifinals. Moving along in round 2 of our CR6 tournament, we have the Sirlon Leader versus Casme. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Casme will be up first. They're gonna do their proboscis attack. A 13 plus 5 is gonna hit. 46 plus 2 piercing. 16 points of piercing damage, plus 76 necrotic. 18 points of necrotic damage. In addition, the Sirlon Leader's HP max is reduced by the amount of necrotic damage taken. The Sirlon Leader's turn. At the start of their turn, they have to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw for the Casme's drone feature. The Casme produces a horrid droning sound. Any creature within 30 feet on the start of their turn must succeed on a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or fall unconscious. The Sirlon Leader has a feature called 2 heads. The Sirlon Leader has advantage on saving throws to avoid frightened, stunned, or unconscious. A 12 plus 3 is gonna save. The Sirlon Leader is now immune to the Casme's drone. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 bites, 2 claws, and uses their pacify action. A 5 plus 6 is gonna miss, so that is 2 misses. An 8 plus 6 misses, but a 15 plus 6 hits, so 1 claw hit. 6 points of damage. Now for Pacify, the Sirlon targets one creature it can see within 120 feet. The target must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. A 3 plus 5 is gonna fail. The Casme is now unconscious. The Casme's turn, they're unconscious, so they don't do anything on their turn, and it's now the Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 bites, 2 claws, and their Psychic Crush action. Their attacks at advantage because of prone. That's a critical hit on the first bite. The Casme now wakes up from unconscious. Bite attack number 2 hits. Their first claw misses, but their second claw hits. 3d8 plus 6 piercing plus 1d4 plus 3 slashing. 26 points of damage. And now Psychic Crush. The Sirlon targets one creature it can see within 120 feet. The target must make a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. A 2 plus 5 is gonna fail. 3d10 plus 5 psychic damage. 22 points of damage. The Casme's turn. They're gonna get up from prone and use their proboscis. A 3 plus 5 is gonna miss. The Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. 2 bites, 2 claws, and Psychic Crush. Both bites are gonna hit, and both claws are gonna hit. 29 points of damage. DC 16 Wisdom saving throw for Psychic Crush. A 12 plus 5 is gonna succeed. 15 points of psychic damage, half to 7. Still enough to take the Casme down. It feels like the 3 monsters in the semifinals are head and shoulders above the rest of the CR6 monsters. I'm excited to see all of these heavyweights go at it. And the Sirlon Leader is moving on to the semifinals. Our final round 2 matchup of our CR6 tournament pits the Durar Warlord versus Moonlight Guardian. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll! The Moonlight Guardian will be up first. They're gonna use their Moonlight Blast. Unleashes a magical blast of moonlight in a 60-foot line. Each creature must make a DC 14 Dexterity saving throw. A 9 plus 0 is gonna fail. 5d8 radiant damage. 17 points of damage. The Durar Warlord's turn. They're gonna use their bonus action Enlarge. The Durar magically increases in size, doubles its damage dice on strength-based weapon attacks, and strength saving throws have advantage. Now they're gonna use their multi-attack, 3 Psychic Attuned Hammer attacks. Ooh, okay. That's a critical fail. A 7 plus 7 misses, but an 18 plus 7 hits. 2d10 plus 4 bludgeoning plus 1d10 psychic. 18 points of bludgeoning damage, but the Moonlight Guardian is resistant to non-magical bludgeoning damage. So that's only going to deal 9 points of damage. And 5 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does not recharge. They're going to use their multi-attack, 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. Their first at advantage. A 15 plus 7 hits, but a 10 plus 7 misses. 1d8 plus 4 bludgeoning plus 1d8 radiant. 16 points of damage. The Durar Warlord's turn. 3 Psychic Attuned Hammer attacks. A 2 plus 7 misses, but a 12 plus 7 hits, so 2 hits. 27 points of bludgeoning damage, half to 13, and 9 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does recharge, and they're gonna use it. DC 14 Dexterity saving throw. In addition, creatures that aren't in their true form have disadvantage on the save. And a 2+0 is gonna fail. 15 points of radiant damage. In addition, the creature is forced into its true form, which means the Moonlight Guardian forces the Durar Warlord back to its unenlarged state. And it's now the Durar Warlord's turn. They're just gonna make 3 Psychic Attuned Hammer attacks. A 7+7 is gonna miss, but the 18+7 hits, so that's 1 hit and 1 crit. 22 points of bludgeoning, halved to 11, and 25 points of psychic. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does recharge. They're gonna use it. DC 14 Dex saving throw. An 8+0 is gonna fail. 16 points of damage. The Durar Warlord's turn. 3 more Psychic Attuned Hammer attacks. A 6+7 misses. A 10+7 hits. So that's 2 hits. 23 points of bludgeoning, halved to 11. And 4 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does not recharge. 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. If they hit twice, it's over, and if they hit once, they have a real shot. A 15+7, that is 1 hit. A 7 on 2d8, and the Durar Warlord goes down. 10 points of damage, and the Durar Warlord is up with 1 hit point. It's the Durar Warlord's turn. 3 Psychic Attuned Hammer attacks. An 8+7 misses, but a 9+7 hits. 11 points of bludgeoning, halved to 5. And 7 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian is still up. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does not recharge. 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. On a hit, they win. They need one of these dice to be a 13 or higher. And with a 14+7, hits the Durar Warlord, and minimum damage takes the Durar Warlord down. Wow, that was a crazy fight. We have such a strong semifinal. I can't wait for it. And the semifinals are set with the Moonlight Guardian moving on. On to the semifinals. Our first matchup is the Invisible Stalker versus Underworld Cerberus. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Invisible Stalker will be up first. The Invisible Stalker is invisible, but the Underworld Cerberus has true sight. With that being said, the Stalker's going to use their multi-attack and do 2 slam attacks. A 5+6 misses, but the 14+6 hits. 2d6+3 bludgeoning damage. 10 points of bludgeoning damage. The Underworld Cerberus's turn. Going to use their multi-attack and do 3 bite attacks. The 5+7 misses. The 13+7 hits, so that's 2 hits. 4d6+8 piercing plus 2d6 fire. 28 points of piercing damage, but the Stalker is resistant to non-magical piercing damage, so that's only going to be 14 points of damage. And 7 points of fire damage. The Invisible Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. And that's a crit and a hit. 31 points of damage. The Cerberus's turn, 3 more bite attacks. Okay, that's 2 hits and a crit. 35 points of piercing damage, halved to 17. And 11 points of fire damage. The Invisible Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. The 9+6 misses, but that's a crit. 23 points of bludgeoning damage. The Cerberus's turn, 3 bite attacks. The 9+7 hits, so that's 3 hits. 34 points of piercing, halved to 17. And 11 points of fire damage. The Invisible Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. We're rolling hot. That's 2 hits. 22 points of bludgeoning damage. The Cerberus's turn, 3 bite attacks. Okay, a 5+7 misses, but that's 2 hits. 16 points of piercing, halved to 8. And 7 points of fire damage. Oh my gosh, the Invisible Stalker's turn, 2 slam attacks. On 2 hits, this could be over. Let's see. An 8+6 misses, but a 13+6 hits. 8 points of bludgeoning damage. The Underworld Cerberus's turn. 3 bite attacks. And that's gonna be 2 hits. 15 points of piercing, halved to 7. It comes down to this right here. 2d6 fire damage. And with 9 points of fire damage, the invisible Stalker goes down. Oh my gosh, what a fight. So many crits. If it wasn't for True Sight, the Stalker would just be waltzing into the finals. And the Underworld Cerberus is moving on to the finals. Our second semifinal bout pits the Sirlon Leader versus Moonlight Guardian. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Moonlight Guardian will be up first. They're gonna use their multi-attack and make 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. A 7+7 hits, so that is 2 hits. 2d8 plus 8 bludgeoning plus 2d8 radiant. 23 points of damage. The Sirlon Leader's turn. They're gonna use their multi-attack, 2 bite attacks, 2 claw attacks, and their pacify action. First the bites. An 8+6 misses, but the 12+6 hits. A 9+6 misses, so both claws miss. 1d8 plus 3 piercing damage. 7 points of piercing damage, but the Moonlight Guardian is resistant to non-magical piercing, so that's only going to deal 3 points of damage. And for Pacify, the Sirlon targets one creature it can see within 120 feet. That target must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. A 17+1 saves, so the Moonlight Guardian does not fall unconscious. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. 2 more Moonlight Slam attacks. An 8+7 hits, so that's 2 hits. 27 points of damage. The Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. They're going to use their multi-attack, 2 bite attacks, 2 claws, and their Psychic Crush action. A 9+6 misses, but the 17+6 hits. And that's a hit and a crit on the claws. 1d8 plus 3 piercing plus 3d4 plus 6 slashing damage. 22 points of damage, halved to 11. And for Psychic Crush, the Sirlon targets one creature it can see within 120 feet. The target must make a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. A 6+1 is gonna fail. 3d10 plus 5 psychic damage. 14 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. Both a 12 and a 13+7 hit. 23 points of damage. The Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. 2 bites, 2 claws, and Psychic Crush. 1 bite attack hits. 1 miss and 1 critical fail. 9 points of piercing damage, halved to 4. And a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw for Psychic Crush. A 6+1 is gonna fail. 13 points of psychic damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. First at advantage. Attack number 1 hits. And that's a crit on attack number 2. 40 points of damage. The Sirlon Leader's turn. Pacify does not recharge. They're gonna make 2 bites, 2 claws, and Psychic Crush. That's a hit and a crit on the bite. And 2 misses on the claws. 20 points of piercing damage, halved to 10. And now Psychic Crush, DC 16 Wisdom saving throw. An 18+1 is gonna save. 31 points of psychic damage, halved to 15. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. 2 Moonlight Slam attacks. Realistically, the Sirlon Leader needs one of these to miss to have a chance. Let's see. Both a 9 and an 8+7 hit. And with 28 points of damage, the Sirlon Leader goes down and the Moonlight Guardian is moving on to the championships. Just that Pacify not recharging and that first save on Pacify, I think we would have had a different result if the Moonlight Guardian failed. And the championship of the CR6 tournament is set. We have finally made it to the championships of our CR6 tournament. Underworld Cerberus versus Moonlight Guardian. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Underworld Cerberus will be up first. They're gonna use their breath weapon. Exhales a 30-foot cone of molten rock. Each creature must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. A 2-1 is gonna fail. 6d6 fire damage. 15 points of fire damage. In addition, the Moonlight Guardian becomes restrained by the hardening rock. And it's now the Moonlight Guardian's turn. They're gonna use their Moonlight Blast. Unleashes a magical blast of moonlight in a 60-foot line. Each creature must make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw. A 5+1 is gonna fail. 5d8 radiant damage. 22 points of radiant damage. The Underworld Cerberus' turn. Their breath weapon does recharge, but they're gonna hold on to it and use their multi-attack, 3 bite attacks. That's a crit on the first bite. A 15+7 hits with the second. And 12+7 hits with the third. 8d6 plus 12 piercing plus 4d6 fire damage. 38 points of piercing damage, but the Moonlight Guardian is resistant to non-magical piercing damage, so that's only going to be 19 points of damage. And 9 points of fire damage. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Blast does recharge. They're gonna use it. DC 14 Dexterity saving throw. An 11 plus 1 fails. 21 points of radiant damage. The Underworld Cerberus' turn. 3 more bite attacks. That's another crit on bite number 1. And that's a crit on bite number 2. And that's a crit on bite number 3. Oh my god. That's 3 crits. This is gonna be 12d6 plus 12 piercing plus 6d6 fire damage. 62 points of piercing damage halved to 31. And 17 points of fire damage. That's the wildest turn I've ever seen in the IFC. Holy cow. The Moonlight Guardian's turn. Moonlight Breath does recharge. They're gonna use it and just hope for the best. Hope that the law of averages brings the Cerberus back down to earth. DC 14 Dex saving throw. And we're spinning. Oh my gosh. And we're spinning. Oh, and it's another natural 20. What is happening? What is happening? Oh my goodness. That is so crazy. What the heck? 18 points of radiant damage halved to 9. And it's the Underworld Cerberus' turn. They're gonna try to finish it off. 3 more bite attacks. Bite number 1 hits. Bite number 2 misses. And bite number 3 hits. 22 points of piercing halved to 11. And with 9 points of fire damage, the Moonlight Guardian goes down, and the Underworld Cerberus is victorious! Oh my goodness! The Cerberus went wild! 3 crits in a turn! That was the wildest thing I've ever done in my life. And the Underworld Cerberus is the champion of the CR6 tournament. My name is Brandon, and I'll see you next time on the Interplanar Fighting Championships.